About 20 minutes after you leave Krabi Airport, you'll make a left turn from the main road and you'll end up in Laem Kruat. Laem Kruat is the gateway to Koh Sriboya and a number of other islands in the area. Now, just to give you some forewarning, when you first arrive at Laem Kruat, you are not going to be impressed. The place looks kind of dirty, and if you ignore the trucks and the telephone lines, this could be right out of the 17th century Caribbean as some sort of a pirate hangout or something like that. But once you get to know the people, you realize it's a safe place, a very nice place, and a great place to pick up those last-minute supplies before you head out to the island. Here we're turning onto the ferry pier. These are the long-tail ferries that service Koh Sriboya and Koh Jem and Koh Phu, the various islands. So when you look around this area, Laem Kruat's not going to win any awards for cleanest city in Thailand, but it's actually quite interesting. It serves again as a ferry hub to transport people in and out of the surrounding islands. There's also quite an interesting community of homes that are built on stilts of varying degrees of strength over the Andaman Sea here. And it's also the place at which any sort of rubber and palm oil products from the islands are brought in to be haggled over and taken to the nearby factories for processing. So as you spend more and more time at Laem Kruat, you'll grow fonder and fonder of it. Again, Laem Kruat is host to the ferry service, and the ferries are basically long-tail boats, which are old kind of automobile engines that have been mounted on shafts. Again, EPA is not real big here, so the pollution requirements are not exactly relevant, but these things generate a fair amount of power, and they can get you around very nicely. It's also kind of interesting what some of the people have done with their homes here, including the plants, and a lot of them will fish at low tide and try to catch crabs off of their backyard, so it's a pretty interesting situation. Laem Kruat is a very small town. It's basically one street about half a mile long, and if you go to one of the shops, you can basically look from one end to the other fairly easily. There are a couple of two-story buildings. Other than that, it's basically one story, and I don't think that the term building permit and building regulations is exactly hit here. This is a van we usually take to Laem Kruat, and so you get out of the van, get on your boat, get ready to go off to Koh Sriboya. Now, if you arrive early in the day, Laem Kruat can actually be quite a nice place to hang out for a while. There's a real rustic feeling for just hanging out on the docks here. And this is the Laem Kruat Pier. It goes out, about a quarter mile into the Andaman Sea. Pretty nice place to hang out and take some pictures. Usually some people doing some fishing out there. And as you go out in the long-tail boat, you'll go along the coastline. You realize that there's a certain rustic beauty to this place. This right here is the dock at which the rubber tree products are offloaded, and so pickup trucks back up and pick them up. These are some early morning shots of the pier. Usually the ferry service starts around 7. On occasion, we've shown up there on trips from Constantinople, where my wife's parents live. We'll show up there at 5:30 or 6 in the morning and just watch the sun come up. It's actually quite a beautiful sight. Here again is a shot of the Laem Kruat Pier. The high limestone pinnacles in the background are quite spectacular, and you can actually hire a boat to take you out there and take you on a kayak trip around. This is a shot right here from the actual pier itself, looking out toward the limestone pinnacles. We're going to begin to see the Koh Phu, Koh Jem, Koh Hang area right now. And this is the first view you get of Koh Sriboya Island. There it is off in the distance. So you get in your boat, it's all loaded down with your suitcases and things like that, and you start pulling out of Laem Kruat, and boat turns toward the west, and there's Koh Sriboya Island right in front of you. Now the ferries run, as I said, anytime from about 7 in the morning until dark, but if you arrive after dark, you can actually hire a private boat. Usually runs about $10 US, and it'll take you across, and then you can get some really pretty views of Koh Sriboya.